Ever looked up at the sun and just wondered, about humanity's ultimate destiny? Like, what happens when our planet, well, isn't habitable anymore?
It's a huge question.
Right. So today, we're doing a deep dive into some really existential stuff about the far, far future. We're talking mind-bending ideas about Earth, our sun, and what humanity might even mean millions, even billions of years from now.
It is pretty wild.
It does. And actually, we sort of let ourselves go and exclusively question ChatGPT on these big cosmic topics. We got the idea and some great material from the podcast of Philippe, who did a similar exploration. We're trying to understand not just what is, but, what might actually be.
A fascinating approach.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to extract the most important nuggets, the real insights from your sources.
And hopefully make sense of them.
Exactly. So today our mission is, well, it's an epic journey, really. Exploring what the future holds for us as our sun expands and Earth, faces an inevitable end. We'll be synthesizing insights from a really compelling exchange with ChatGPT provided to us, like I said, by Le Podcast de Philippe.
Yeah.
We'll delve into the science, the possibilities, the absolutely colossal timeline of cosmic change. And we'll even stretch our minds, maybe uncomfortably, to consider how life and consciousness itself might evolve.
It's not just space and time. It's about what we become.
Precisely. A journey into the very definition of our existence.
And what truly stands out when you start thinking about this is that we're grappling with timescales that are almost, unimaginable. Billions of years. It pushes the boundaries of our current understanding of pretty much everything: science, biology, philosophy.
It really does.
Which brings up a crucial question right at the start.
Yeah.
Can we really conceptualize the future of our species when the numbers are just so vast they almost lose meaning?
Good point. Can our brains even handle that?
Exactly. So we'll look at not just the scenarios, but also the why. Why are these ideas so captivating? And maybe more practically, how could any civilization actually prepare for such monumental and, let's be honest, inevitable changes? It's about survival on a truly cosmic scale.
Okay, so the sun's expansion is inevitable. It's like this cosmic deadline hanging over Earth. But let's unpack that timeline ChatGPT detailed, because getting your head around those huge stretches of time is really the first step, isn't it?
Absolutely. It sets the stage.
What are the key moments, the critical junctures we need to keep in mind for Earth's fate?
Well, the first really big one, the point where Earth starts becoming seriously inhospitable for life as we know it, that comes in about 1 billion years.
1 billion. Sounds like forever, doesn't it? But cosmically.
It's not that long, relatively speaking. At that point, the sun's luminosity, basically its brightness and heat output, is predicted to increase by about 10%.
10%. Doesn't sound like a game changer initially.
You'd think so, right? But for Earth's climate system, it's catastrophic. That seemingly small increase triggers a runaway greenhouse effect. The oceans, our vast, life-giving oceans, start to boil away.
Oh, wow.
They evaporate into space. So you picture Earth slowly transforming from this blue marble into, a barren, superheated desert world, utterly incapable of supporting complex life.
And that happens before the sun really starts dying.
Exactly. Long before the red giant phase. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? Our planet has a kind of best before date stamped on it, even before the star itself begins its final act.
It really is. Okay, so that's 1 billion years, but then things get even more dramatic later on.
Oh, yes. Fast forward quite a bit further to around 4 to 5 billion years from now. That's when the main event happens, cosmically speaking.
The red giant phase.
The red giant phase. Our sun runs out of hydrogen fuel in its core, and its structure fundamentally changes. It swells up enormously.
How big are we talking?
Big enough that its outer layers will expand way past its current size. The models show it will almost certainly engulf Mercury and Venus, just swallow them.
Whoa.
Gone. And for Earth, the prognosis is grim. It's either going to be completely swallowed too, or at the very least be so close to the expanded sun that it gets incinerated, utterly destroyed, turned into a molten husk orbiting inside the dying star's atmosphere.
Wow. So either way, Earth as a planet is toast.
Pretty much. It's a stark reminder of how transient even planets are in the grand scheme of things. A definitive end for our home world.
That is humbling. Okay, so when we think about saving a planet, especially from watching sci-fi, the big idea is often the Dyson sphere, right? This giant shell around the star.
Always comes up, yeah.
It seems like the ultimate engineering feat. But ChatGPT had some, pretty specific and sobering things to say about whether that could actually save Earth. What was the verdict there?
Right, the Dyson sphere. It's iconic. But ChatGPT, and physics really, quickly points out a key distinction. The popular image, that solid, rigid shell around the whole sun, that's fundamentally physically impossible.
Why? What's the problem?
Just think about the forces involved. You've got the sun's immense gravity pulling in on the structure. At the same time, you've got the outward pressure from the star's radiation pushing out.
Okay.
Any single solid shell, no matter what futuristic materials you imagine, would just be ripped apart by those colossal opposing forces. It couldn't withstand the stress. It's like trying to hold back an explosion with, a piece of paper. The engineering isn't just hard, it's against the laws of physics as we understand them.
So no giant solid ball around the sun then?
No.
Yeah.
So when scientists or futurists talk seriously about Dyson spheres, they're usually imagining something different, something more plausible. A Dyson swarm.
A swarm? Like bees?
Kind of. But instead of bees, imagine a vast, decentralized cloud of independent things orbiting the sun. Satellites, solar collectors, maybe even habitats. Millions or billions of them.
Ah, okay. Not one structure, but lots of little ones working together.
Exactly. A dense cloud orbiting in complex patterns. And the main goal of this swarm wouldn't be to shield anything, but to capture energy. A huge amount of solar energy, harvesting nearly all the star's output.
For what? Powering things.
Powering an incredibly advanced civilization.
Yeah.
You could beam that energy to distant colonies, fuel interstellar travel, run massive computations, basically provide near-limitless power.
Okay, so it's not a shield, it's a power plant. A stellar-scale power plant. That's a really important difference.
Critical difference.
But hang on, if a civilization can build that, if they can harness the energy of an entire star, surely they have enough power to do something about the sun expanding. Couldn't they, I don't know, push it back or build a super shield?
Yeah.
Or just leave really, really fast?
It's a really logical question, and it highlights the sheer scale we're dealing with. Even with the energy of an entire star, what we call a Kardashev Type 2 civilization, redirecting the fundamental physics of stellar evolution, like the red giant phase, is likely, well, beyond even them.
Really? Even with all that power?
Think about it less as raw power and more about the fundamental forces. You're talking about gravity, nuclear fusion, the star's basic mass. Changing a star's life cycle isn't like diverting a river. It's like trying to change the laws of physics themselves for that star. You'd have to somehow fundamentally alter its mass or composition on a massive scale, which brings its own insane challenges.
So you can use the output, but you can't easily change the star's, destiny.
That seems to be the consensus, yeah. It shows that even for a super advanced civilization, there are still these cosmic realities you just have to work around, not necessarily control. Some things are just too big.
Wow. Okay, that's profound. Even godlike civilizations have limits. So, if the famous Dyson sphere won't save Earth, what are the other options? The truly wild, but maybe theoretically possible alternatives ChatGPT suggested for civilization survival? This is where it gets really sci-fi.
Absolutely. There are a few main contenders.
One of the most, audacious ones was literally moving the Earth. Not shielding it, but physically pushing our entire planet further away from the sun.
Shifting the orbit.
Yeah, moving it out to where Mars is now, or even Jupiter, to escape the heat as the sun expands. The scale of that? It's hard to even imagine. How would you even do that?
Well, ChatGPT mentions specific, though highly advanced methods. The main one involves using giant asteroids, or maybe even small moons, as gravitational tractors.
Gravitational tractors.
Yeah, the idea is you carefully maneuver these massive objects to fly past Earth repeatedly. Their gravity gives Earth a tiny nudge each time. Over millions, maybe hundreds of millions of years, these tiny nudges add up, slowly shifting our orbit outwards.
Wow. A cosmic game of billiards played over geological time.
Pretty much. It requires patience and foresight on a scale that just dwarfs anything we do now.
Okay, that's option one. Move the house. What else?
Option two is maybe more pragmatic, though still incredibly futuristic. Migrating elsewhere. Basically accepting Earth is doomed and leaving.
Abandoned ship.
Right. Humanity, or whatever we've become by then, or maybe our AI descendants, just packs up and moves. The new homes could be massive, self-contained space habitats, like those O'Neill cylinders you hear about.
Hell's long rotating cylinders creating artificial gravity.
Exactly. Capable of housing millions, with their own ecosystems. Or even grander, embarking on interstellar voyages, sending generation ships, or maybe something faster, to colonize other star systems entirely. Finding new Earths, or building new homes from scratch out there.
And this is where the Dyson swarm could come in handy.
Precisely. Not to save Earth, but to power everything else. Powering those giant habitat, powering the immense energy required for interstellar travel. It provides the juice needed for a truly spacefaring multi-system civilization.
Makes sense. Powering the escape pods, essentially. Okay, and what was the third most extreme option?
The most extreme, almost godlike idea was transforming the sun itself.
Whoa, not moving the planet, but changing the star.
Exactly. This would definitely require that Kardashev Type 2 capability controlling stellar energy. ChatGPT mentions starlifting.
Starlifting, like literally lifting material off the sun.
Hypothetically, yes.
Yeah.
Extracting mass from the sun. By carefully removing stellar material, you could theoretically slow down its evolution, prolong its main sequence lifespan, delay, or maybe even alter the red giant phase.
Giving life in the solar system more time.
A lot more time. This isn't just adjusting an orbit. It's like cosmic engineering, attempting to reshape the destiny of the star itself. It's way out there, obviously, bordering on what we can even conceive of.
Okay, moving Earth, migrating, or fixing the sun. Quite the range.
And if you tie it all together, the Dyson sphere, or rather the swarm, becomes less of a solution in itself and more of a signifier.
What do you mean?
Well, ChatGPT suggests that any civilization capable of building a Dyson swarm would already have the technology and energy needed for those other solutions. Moving planets, building habitats, interstellar travel, those would likely be within their grasp if they can manage stellar-scale engineering like a Dyson swarm.
Ah, I see. It's like if you can build the ultimate power plant, you can probably afford the ultimate moving truck or escape vehicle, too.
Exactly. Which leads to a really important question one ChatGPT implicitly answers. Is the goal to save the planet, Earth itself? Or is the goal to save civilization? The analysis seems clear. Earth, as a physical place, might be doomed. But a Dyson swarm, or the tech level it represents, could absolutely save the civilization. It ensures the continuity of intelligence, culture, the species, even if it means leaving the cradle behind.
So the focus shifts from saving the rock to saving the people, or whatever the people have become.
Precisely. It forces you to think about what home really means in that cosmic context. Is it the place or the collective consciousness and culture? And that brings us to the next really mind-bending part. What does civilization even look like after billions of years?
Right. That's the crux of it, isn't it? And this is where it gets really, really interesting. ChatGPT broke down just how long 1 billion years actually is in human terms. It gives you some perspective that's, well, almost terrifying.
It's hard to grasp.
Okay, get this. 1 billion years. That's roughly 40 million generations, assuming, say, 25 years per generation.
40 million.
Now, compare that to us, Homo sapiens. We've only been around for about 300,000 years, which is only about, what, 12,000 generations?
Tiny fraction.
Tiny. We're talking about a future time frame that is over 3,300 times longer than all of human history combined. Think about everything that's ever happened. Empires, inventions, art, wars, all squeezed into less than 1/3,000th of that future span.
Wow.
It's not just a long time, it's an almost incomprehensible duration. It makes it virtually certain that humanity, as we know it today, we won't be around in this form. We'll be fundamentally, maybe unrecognizably transformed. Our current form is basically guaranteed to be obsolete.
It's a sobering realization. Our familiar Homo sapien selves were just a fleeting stage. ChatGPT was pretty clear that humanity as we understand it now will almost certainly not exist. But it outlined 3 sort of potential pathways for what might replace us, what our descendants could become, each more speculative, maybe, but rooted in adaptation and tech.
Okay, let's hear them. What's scenario 1?
Scenario 1 is biological evolution, but on steroids, basically. Not just slow, random natural selection. We're talking descendants who would be largely unrecognizable to us.
How so?
Well, over 40 million generations, natural evolution would definitely play a role, adapting life to new environments, space habitats, alien worlds. But it would almost certainly be massively accelerated and guided by artificial means. Genetic engineering, advanced biotechnology.
Designing future humans.
Potentially. Imagine bodies adapted to resist cosmic radiation, or thrive in low-oxygen atmospheres, or handle microgravity without degrading maybe elongated bodies, reinforced bones, or even new senses, perceiving different kinds of energy.
So we could split into different species, adapted for different places.
That's a real possibility in this scenario. Diverse human species, each tailored for a specific planet or habitat across the galaxy, humanity branching out biologically in radical ways.
Wow, okay, that's one path, biological divergence. What's scenario 2? That sounds even more radical.
Scenario 2 is the technological or cybernetic human. This is where we merge with our machines. Not just using tools, but becoming integrated with them. A post-human civilization.
Like cyborgs, but maybe taken much further.
Exactly. Think beyond just prosthetics. Imagine biological intelligence deeply interwoven with advanced AI. Maybe modular cybernetic bodies, you could download your consciousness into different physical forms depending on the need.
So, like, you could have a body specifically designed for exploring a gas giant or one for living purely in space.
Precisely. A body for an icy moon, another for virtual reality. The ultimate endpoint of this path could even be a purely digital existence. Consciousness uploaded into vast computer networks.
Living inside the machine.
Essentially, yes. Potentially powered by those Dyson swarms we talked about. Physical limitations become almost irrelevant. Humanity becomes this distributed network of information, experience, and consciousness.
That raises huge questions about identity, doesn't it? If you can be copied or edited?
Massive questions. What is the self in that scenario? Okay, ready for scenario 3. This one goes even further out.
Lay it on me. What's scenario 3?
Scenario 3 is transcendent or energetic beings. This is the most speculative, almost spiritual, you could say.
Okay.
Here, consciousness might transcend any physical substrate, biological or cybernetic. It could emerge as like pure energy patterns or complex information fields.
Beings of pure energy.
Or pure information, no longer tied to a body in any traditional sense. They could potentially propagate across interstellar space at light speed, not as ships, but as information itself, flowing through galactic networks.
Wow, so consciousness becomes this distributed thing across the cosmos.
Perhaps. In this scenario, the idea of a generation becomes meaningless. It might be replaced by an immortal collective memory or consciousness, constantly evolving, potentially merging.
A universal mind, almost.
Something like that. It's a vision where the individual might dissolve into a larger whole, but the essence that began as humanity continues in this incredibly abstract form.
Biological, cybernetic, or energetic. So what's the bottom line here? What does ChatGPT conclude from all this speculation?
The stark conclusion is that Homo sapiens, our current form, will be a distant fossil curiosity. We won't be here like this.
But something could survive.
Yes, a biological lineage, a cybernetic one, or some hybrid, or even that energetic form. They could survive, provided they achieve incredible technological mastery and adaptability.
So what actually endures, if it's not the body?
According to this analysis, what potentially endures is the continuity of consciousness, the transmission of culture, the preservation of memory. That's the thread.
The information.
The information, the experience, the sentience itself. That intangible legacy is what might connect us today to those far future beings. It suggests identity might ultimately be more about information and awareness than about the specific physical package it comes in.
That's a lot to think about. Identity as information flow.
Okay, so while we're pondering humanity's far out future, what about everything else on Earth? All the animals, plants, fungi, our incredible biodiversity, what happens to them over 1 billion years?
Yeah, it's a crucial question. And the outlook for natural life, as we know it now, well, it's pretty bleak, frankly.
How so?
Well, first, just consider natural evolution's course. Even if the sun stayed perfectly stable over 1 billion years, all current species would either go extinct or evolve into completely new forms we wouldn't recognize.
Like how dinosaurs evolved into birds.
Exactly, but over a much longer timescale. Think about it. No more dogs, cats, elephants, oak trees, tuna. They'd all be replaced by entirely different lineages, descendants adapted to whatever Earth looks like millions of years from now. The familiar face of nature would be gone.
Just through normal evolution.
Just through normal evolution. But then you layer on the sun's dominant impact.
The oceans boiling off. Right. Within that 1 billion years, as the sun heats up, Earth becomes that burning desert. A runaway greenhouse effect sterilizes the surface. Most complex life just can't survive that.
So what, if anything, could survive?
Survival would likely be limited to the hardiest microbes, the extremophiles, things that can live deep underground, maybe in subsurface water pockets, or other sheltered niches away from the intense surface heat and radiation. But the vibrant surface biodiversity we know, gone. A distant memory.
That's incredibly sad, actually, a barren Earth. But could future humans, or whatever they become, intervene? Could they try and save some species? The whole galactic Noah's Ark idea.
It's a possibility ChatGPT touched upon, yes. The idea that this highly advanced humanity future or its descendants might take an active role.
How would that work? Build giant spacesuits?
Potentially something like that. Constructing massive space habitats, artificial biospheres, or even terraforming other planets specifically to house and preserve selected species from Earth. transporting ecosystems, essentially.
A cosmic conservation effort.
Exactly. It would be one of the grandest conservation projects imaginable, a testament to a sense of responsibility for life beyond just themselves.
There's a catch, isn't there? ChatGPT mentioned it wouldn't be about saving everything.
Right. And this is a critical and maybe uncomfortable point. It would almost certainly be a selection process.
Choosing who gets a ticket on the ark.
Pretty much. Future beings would likely prioritize species deemed useful for their own ecosystems, or species with significant symbolic value, or perhaps keystone species needed to make artificial habitats function. It wouldn't be an indiscriminate rescue mission.
So a curated collection of life, not the whole library.
Exactly. It would be a powerful act of preservation, but also profoundly selective. And that raises huge ethical questions, doesn't it? Who gets to decide which species are worthy of surviving Earth's demise? What criteria do you use? It's a monumental burden.
Yeah, playing God on a galactic scale. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. You mentioned earlier how some of this borders on the spiritual. ChatGPT apparently explored this angle too, the idea of life as a kind of test or soul improvement.
It did touch upon that, connecting it to these vast timescales. If you take the premise, found in some spiritual traditions, that life is a journey of learning and consciousness refinement over many incarnations,
Okay.
then what might 40 million generations of that kind of spiritual evolution achieve? Could it finally eliminate fundamental human problems like, say, poverty and war? Could our inner growth finally catch up to our outer potential?
Interesting thought. Let's take poverty first. How might that play out?
Well, it's fascinating how the spiritual and technological perspectives could converge here. Spiritually, if poverty is often linked to things like attachment, inequality, greed, lack of empathy, then millions of generations focused on soul growth might erode those traits.
Learning solidarity and sharing over eons.
Exactly. The spiritual drive for accumulation at others' expense might just fade away, replaced by a deeper understanding of interconnectedness and collective well-being.
And the technology helps too.
Massively. Technologically, an advanced interstellar civilization, maybe powered by that Dyson swarm, could achieve near-total material abundance. Resource scarcity, as we understand it, might just cease to exist. Asteroid mining, advanced manufacturing, limitless energy.
So everyone has enough, resources are plentiful.
Right, so plentiful and potentially distributed so equitably by advanced AI or evolved social structures that the very concept of poverty, lacking necessities or opportunities becomes meaningless. It's a future where inner growth and outer abundance work together.
That's a genuinely hopeful vision. Okay, what about war? That seems like an even deeper, more ingrained problem. Could 40 million generations cure us of that?
It's perhaps the bigger challenge. Spiritually, war stems from fear, ego, the drive for dominance, tribalism, seeing others as fundamentally other.
Us versus them.
Exactly. If souls truly progress over millions of cycles, the core drivers of conflict might diminish. The focus could shift dramatically towards cooperation, empathy, understanding difference rather than fearing it. The violence reflex might just weaken over time through sheer spiritual maturation.
So less fear, less ego, less reason to fight.
That's the idea. And some traditions, as ChatGPT noted, even suggest a future stage of unified consciousness,
Where everyone feels connected.
where the sense of separation between individuals breaks down. If you truly perceive every other being as part of a single whole, as part of yourself,
Then harming them is harming yourself.
precisely.
Yeah.
In that state, war wouldn't just be undesirable. It would be fundamentally unthinkable, maybe even psychologically impossible, like trying to consciously attack your own hand. It's a vision where our spiritual maturity becomes the ultimate conflict resolution tool.
A future beyond war, driven by evolved consciousness. That's quite something to aim for.
It truly is. It suggests our ultimate journey might not just be technological, but deeply spiritual and psychological too.
So, wrapping this all up, this incredible deep dive into ChatGPT's projections, sourced from Le Podcast de Philippe. It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
Definitely. It leaves us with a pretty profound thought to chew on. If it's our consciousness, our culture, our collective memory that truly defines humanity across these vast timescales and potential transformations, then what essential truths, what core values should we be cultivating right now, today? What foundation should we be laying to make sure that legacy, that thread of consciousness stretching into the far future, is actually one worth preserving?
One that our distant descendants, whatever they look like, would be proud of.
Exactly. Are we building a future worth inheriting even billions of years from now?
That is a powerful question to leave things on, a real call to reflect on our present actions and their cosmic echoes. Well, a huge thank you to you for joining us on this, frankly, mind-bending deep dive into the cosmic future.
My pleasure. It's fascinating stuff.
Absolutely. And remember, we sourced today's incredible material from Le Podcast de Philippe. We really encourage you to check out their content for more thought-provoking discussions like this.
Definitely worth a listen.
And if you enjoyed this exploration, maybe do them a favor. Please help Le Podcast de Philippe reach 1,000 subscribers. Apparently, they're really close. Your support helps them keep bringing these kinds of big ideas to light.
Yeah, give them a boost.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.